If you follow me for a while, then you know that I released a video about 2 weeks ago, which was based on should Fortnite OG become a permanent game mode. You'll also know that in that video I expressed my concerns about Fortnite players completely falling off the game straight after Fortnite OG ended. That's sort of what this is about. In this video we'll be covering, is Fortnite Chapter 5 good? Because, in all honesty, it's complicated. I'll be explaining why it's complicated by going through firstly the bad and all the reasons why Fortnite Chapter 5 is a negative influence on Fortnite's future, and then I'll be covering the good, just to see exactly what Fortnite Chapter 5 does bring in a positive light. We'll then be ending on the bottom line and really summarising why it's so complicated to say definitively if Chapter 5 is any good. With that being said, guys, be sure to subscribe to my channel, because if you've been following me, I've got plenty of Fortnite content for you and more coming up very soon, starting actually tomorrow. So, with that all being said, let's get straight into the bad and not waste any more of your time with this slightly overlong intro. Let's go. So I said I'll start on the bad, so let's start off on a note that most people have been very in disagreement of, let's just say. The movement. So Fortnite actually recently released on Twitter talking about the movement because there was so much controversy around it. So what they've essentially done is they've changed the animation for the movement, and that has eventually resulted in Fortnite being a lot slower. For example, according to Fortnite's Twitter, which I'll be up on the screen right now, there is new animations. The run and sprint speed is slightly slower, but stamina recovers quicker, and sideways and backwards movement is faster. Crouching is slower but stealthier. Okay, so let's break down that a bit. So, as someone who's actually played Fortnite Chapter 5 a lot at this point, an embarrassing amount of hours to be honest, but there you go, you can really feel the difference. It's not even close. This does just feel much slower. You do notice that stamina recovery, however, and you also definitely notice that you're a lot stealthier when you're crouching. Me personally, I do quite like a fast-paced battle royale, so I'm not entirely sure the trade-off was worth it. It's going to be something that's a hot topic in Fortnite for, well, the entire chapter to come, because I sincerely doubt they're going to be changing it in time for the next season, no matter how many people complain. So like it or not, we're stuck with it for now. Me personally, I see it as a negative, because I really loved that Fortnite was beginning to get a bit faster, it was beginning to add more movement items, more vehicles, it was starting to get really exciting, but it seemed like they sort of just put a stop to that momentum with this update. However, I know it's something to get used to, so I'll come back to this in a video in the future. Next, the map for Chapter 5, while being graphically very stunning, is just a bit basic. It's a bit plain, there's not a huge amount going on, there's just not too much about it that's particularly exciting. That's okay, because a lot of the POIs are quite good. However, there's nothing at this point hugely stand out about it. For example, there's no city, there's a floating island that spawns in, but it's not permanent, like the one in Chapter 1 for example. There's just nothing hugely unique about it. Obviously, Fortnite will continue adding to it as the season and chapters go on. However, as per now, it's a bit basic. The next thing is that while the weapons are very strong, as I'll talk about in the good section, there's not many unique items. And I mean stuff like, look at Chapter 4, it released with the Shockwave Hammer. You know, there were loads of different unique items that have been added to Fortnite over the years, and a lot of them have been completely game-changing. There's nothing quite like that here, unless you really want to include the grapple blade, which is good, but because it's not hugely viable in a competitive situation, it's never really going to be massively used, and therefore it's not going to feel game-changing, something like the Shockwave Hammer did. Next up is one that I guarantee if you've played this game you will have noticed, because I have, and I've been playing this game a lot. It's bullet drop. Okay, well, let's talk about that a little bit, because bullet drop is something that's going to be massively controversial to a lot of people. If you've played something like Warzone, which I guarantee that most of you have, bullet drop is something that's commonplace in most shooters already. Fortnite, however, used to operate on a hit scan system, which basically meant the second you fired your gun, if it wasn't a sniper, your bullet would be hitting the target. Not anymore. Now, you have to compensate for the distance you're shooting, for exactly your weapon and what power that weapon happens to have. There are attachments you can use that decrease bullet drop, such as the muzzle brake. There are things you can do about it, but the bottom line is that there is severe and significant bullet drop in Fortnite Chapter 5, especially with the snipers on long distances. I used to be able to hit 450 meter snipes with a good bit of concentration and a hell of a lot of practice in the last chapter. This chapter, a 250 meter snipe is harder than 450 meter used to be. That's how severe the bullet drop is on snipers. I get that it adds realism to Fortnite, however it is going to mean that a lot of people are going to be facing new mechanics that they're just simply not used to in any way, because most people that play Fortnite competitively don't normally go over to Warzone to practice their Fortnite. They stay in Fortnite, and that's how it's been for technically 5, but really 4 seasons now, and now every gun feels completely different, even down to your most basic pistol. It really does mean that you're less likely to be picked off from 500 meters, which is nice, but it does just take away from a little bit of the charm that sniping had, because it was so satisfying to be able to ping someone from 450 meters away. But anyway, in my opinion, those are the bad things about Chapter 5. There is a significant amount of good, but I needed to get the bad out of the way first so you understand why I'm so conflicted about this chapter. If you've gotten this far in the video, be sure to subscribe. I massively appreciate it. And ding that notification bell so that you are fully in the loop about what videos come out on my channel, because I release Fortnite content very regularly, especially nowadays. And with that being said, let's go and talk about some of the good parts of the season, the part that I like talking about. Because surprisingly enough, I actually don't want to be too negative about this chapter, because I think it's a good thing. But let's get to the good. Now, let's talk about the part of Fortnite that I actually enjoy talking about, because I actually don't like slagging off one of my favourite games. I've actually spent the last few days preaching to people who I play with that they should be playing it as much as they can while it's lasting, because right now, Fortnite is in a good place. Let's talk about why. So, first and foremost, this season brings with it a hell of a lot of quality of life changes that were lacking. Number 1, you can heal while you walk, and it is beautiful. Have you been stuck in the storm, unable to heal because you have to stand still for 10 seconds to use a medkit? Well, now you can use it and march straight towards that zone line, so you're probably slightly less likely to die, although the slow movement hinders that a little bit, but that's beside the point. You can heal while walking now. It's fantastic. You should absolutely take full advantage of this whenever. It's also very useful when someone's shooting you to be able to, do a little move around cover when they're trying to shoot you. You've also got rebooting and reviving. They've been changed a little bit, because now when you stop reviving, you won't instantly lose all your progress, which is really annoying, because the amount of times I've tried to revive a friend, and because it takes so long to reboot someone, I've just accidentally just forgotten to press the controller the entire time and I've stopped, and then that's another however many seconds wasted. You now don't get that anymore. When you stop, the charge on either the reboot or the revive will now go down very slowly, and it won't completely deplete instantly, which is very, very nice and very helpful, especially when you've got 90% of the reboot off, someone shoots at you, you stop, do a little build, kill them, come back, and then you keep going. It's not like you have to start from scratch, because everyone knows how long and how tense rebooting gets sometimes. Second of all, weapon variety. There are a hell of a lot of weapons in this game. You will see many, many, many different names for many different weapons. And I'm not talking about the base weapons, I'm talking about variations. And that comes from the mod system, which is another massive perk that this season brings. Mods now enable you to completely customise your game and your weapons to the style that you would like to play, which is fantastic. Because for me, I love to use snipers. And in Fortnite, snipers were kind of hard to use if you wanted to use them in place of your AR, because you always had a sniper scope on them. Now, if you fancy a red dot sniper, you can have your red dot sniper. And I do regularly, because I think it's the most OP thing that they've ever added to the game. It's ridiculous. I mean, have you seen some of the clips I've been posting in the last few days? Some of the snipes have been disgusting. Also, every weapon sounds amazing. They really do. Like, there's just this almost realistic sound to them now. And I'm not saying they didn't sound good before, but every single chapter they just get better and better at making the weapons sound more realistic, and I love it. They just sound so nice and crisp, and like when you shoot a sniper, you can hear the echo, especially if it's inside. Oh my god, shoot a sniper inside, you'll know exactly what I mean. Another good thing is actually something I said was a bad thing, which is the movement. I'm not disengaging from what I said before. This is a different sort of movement. They've added things to the game now where if someone's built a massive wall upwards, a vertical wall, only works with player builds, you can literally vault up the entire thing if you've got enough stamina, which is amazing. It totally changes up the dynamic of build battles, because it now means that players who can't build are instantly at a disadvantage because they don't have, a grapple blade or anything like that. You can literally just scale up the walls like Spider-Man. It's amazing. It's so much better than it was before, because now builders aren't completely just, oh, they're great, they built a hotel, can't kill them now. It's so much easier and it's much more inviting for new players. You've also got bosses and AI, which I think have been massively improved this chapter. The AI seems a lot better. AI will now actively pursue you. They won't just sort of sit there and when you run 5 meters away, they'll just stop. They'll actively look for you, and they'll actually mantle and vault and climb up buildings to try and find you. And the same goes for bosses. Bosses are now lethal. You do not want to mess with these guys until you have enough loot. You used to be able to just go, remember season 2 of chapter 2, when they originally added bosses, you could literally just go in and kill the boss and it'd be pretty easy. Now, you do not want to be going in there with one chest worth of loot, because you will get absolutely flattered. But that also leads to my next point, which are medallions. Medallions are a great addition. They're like a bounty that you choose to get yourself. If you've ever played Warzone and picked up a Most Wanted bounty, you know exactly how this feels. But this is actually better, because this lasts the entire match if you pick up a medallion, and it constantly refreshes your shield. So it's like risk rewards, and it's just so fun to know that every single person on the map knows where you are, and it's your job to fight as many people as you possibly can. If you want high kill games, get everyone in your squad to pick up a medallion. You won't regret it. Trust me. And that's the good, because there's a lot that's been added to this season. A lot. And obviously, we're going to find new things as well, and I haven't even mentioned the train. The train is amazing. I love the train. It's such a unique feature. Not entirely unique, but, as per right now, Fortnite hasn't had a train before, so it's nice to have something that's a bit different and adds something else to do in stupid challenges, which I'm sure you'll see, as I probably did yesterday on my stream. And I will do in future, because the amount of times I've tried to stay on the train the entire game is ridiculous. It's so much fun. And the chest on it infinitely respawns, so it's even better. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. There's been a lot of good added to this season. It is not the mid-season that a lot of people say it is. I think it is a generally very positive season. But that makes my conclusion all the more confusing. So let's talk, finally, about the bottom line. So after going through the bad and then the good, it would appear on the surface that we have quite a mixed bag on our hands. But in my opinion, this isn't the case. In my opinion, it depends on what you value in Fortnite. If you liked the part of the game that brought insane weapons every week, completely changing up the meta every coming week, and insanely quick movement, and you preferred a map that had loads going on, then firstly you must have loved Season X from Chapter 1, and secondly, this season probably isn't for you. And by that, I mean Battle Royale. I'll go on to what I mean in a second. What makes this season for you is if you like Fortnite in a more similar way to how it used to be, but better. What I mean by that is I think this season is probably more comparable to Chapter 2 Season 1 and maybe the first 5 or 6 seasons of Chapter 1 than any other season. There's not a huge amount going on, there's nothing insane, but there is a lot of quality of life changes that have come in that have really improved the game from what it used to be. Obviously a lot of those changes are going to divide people, but for me, this feels like a more fluid experience more than any Fortnite game has felt before, and I think it really is a positive. There's just a lot of different elements here that all mix up to create a really balanced game, which is ultimately what I think that Epic Games are going for here, and for the most part I think they've really hit the mark. There's a level of complexity to stuff like weapon modding that you can completely ignore if you don't feel like it or if you're new. There are weapons that drop automatically modded on the floor. If you want to see more about weapon mods, go and check out my other video on weapon mods. By the way, I created a whole video just talking about each weapon mod and exactly what it does. But my point is there are lots of systems here that would benefit people if they were looking for them, but ultimately the base experience of this Fortnite season is one that emphasises balance and also functionality. This is a very functional Fortnite season. Okay, it's nothing ridiculous, it's not the best season we've ever seen, but it's certainly not bad. It does a lot right. I think that's what players really have to focus on. It completely depends on what you value in Fortnite, and if you value those other things, Epic is saying, hold on, I've got 3 completely new games releasing within Fortnite in the next few days that are all focusing on those things that you like. And that's what you need to focus on. Battle Royale isn't the most important, integral part of Fortnite anymore. Fortnite has become more than just a Battle Royale game. And whether you think that's for the good or the bad, it does mean that if you don't enjoy the Battle Royale quite as much, there are a lot of other things that you could do that will cover you in that case. So if you're looking at not liking some of the new weapons, you can hop over to anything else and play with all the mythic weapons that have ever been released in one Battle Royale mode with probably less people, but still, it's still out there. Fortnite is all about providing the player choice, and I think choice is the underlying most important part of this season. Weapon mods, choice. Totally different games, choice. The fact that there's a completely new movement system in the game that you can either choose to ignore or acknowledge, choice. Fortnite is choosing to provide its players with more varied gameplay if they want, without significantly altering the baseline Fortnite experience. I think that is the part of the season that I really like. That's the part of the season that will either attract people in, or people will play it and they won't like it. But ultimately I think it will be a success. It will be interesting to see the player numbers over the next few weeks, but right now, they're more than holding up. They're actually higher than they were during Summer of OG, which I'm very, very impressed with. But anyway, I want to know your thoughts on what you think of the new Fortnite season. So let me know in the comments below. Subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and like if you would like to see either a part 2 or if you'd like to just support the channel. Click that notification bell if you're interested in my other uploads. And with that being said, guys, I'll see you all very soon for my next video. Bye bye.